Hello, let's try to understand how to add fractions. I've seen students struggling with it, and they do so many types of errors that you can't even imagine. For example, when they're adding, they will add the numerators, they will add the denominators. They will add even if the denominators are not the same. And you cannot expect what they can do, right? But here are some simple tips. One, whenever you want to add a fraction, you should have common denominator, always, right? So first part is to write an equivalent fraction with common denominator. Once you get fraction with common denominator, then you add them, okay? Now here, let's go through the first one. In the first one, we already have common denominator. Both are 1/8. Do you see? This is 1 of 1/8, this is 3 of 1/8. So those are the like things. You can always add like things. So these fractions are similar. Similar in the fashion that they are divided into 8 equal parts each. Now you can find how many parts are there which are taken. So like 3 out of 8 and 1 out of 8. So total are 4 out of 8. That is how you can understand it, right? So if I can draw this and show you on a diagram, then it will be like this. See, we can have two blocks like this, and let's divide them into eighths. So how can you divide them into eighths? Well, we can do a couple of ways. One, we can do first half, right? Half of each. And then we can do half more like this. So you got 1/4, right? 1/4. And to divide it into 8, we can do like this. Like this. So we got eighths, right? So these are the two things. And to show 3 over 8, what we can do is we can shade 3 for the first one. 1, 2, 3. And the second one is 1 out of 8. Correct? So if we add these two, let us say we want to add these two, right? If we add these two, then how many eighths do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you see that? So that represents 4 out of 8, right? Do you see that? If I put this here, it becomes half of 1. Do you see that? If I put this here, this 1/8, if I move it to this place from here, right? Then this will fill up half of 1, right? So that is how we can simplify this also. We can write 4 out of 8 as half. So that is the lowest term, correct? So after adding, it may be important to write it in the lowest terms like this, okay? So because they had the same denominator, we can do straight addition. Addition always of numerators when we have common denominator. So we get 3 plus 1, 4. And 8, don't add 8 and don't write 16 here, okay? They are eighths, okay? Like this. So 4 out of 8, right? And this can be written in the lowest term. You can divide both by 4 and you get 1 out of 2, half, correct? That is how you should be adding fractions. I hope you understand. And this diagram makes it clear and gives you a concept of why and how you get this result, okay? Let's try to do the next one. Next one is 2 out of 3 and 1 out of 6. This is to be added. So let's try to sketch it first. So we'll again make two different blocks. 1 and 2. Now to divide it into 3 parts, let's do it like this. So this is the first one, right? 1, 2 and 3. So, and because we have 2 out of 3, I'll shade 2 of them. correct? So we got 2 out of 3. This is the first one. Now the second one, I have to divide it into 6 parts. Let's divide that into 6 parts. So here, first we divide into 3 like this, and then I can make half of like this. So I got 6 equal parts here, okay? And let's shade one of them. Now let's try to add them, correct? Let's try to add them. Now if you try to add them, you see that they are not equal parts, right? So you can't really add them. So before adding, we have to make them into equal pieces, right? How can I do that? So to do that, I have to divide first one also in 6, 1/6, right? How can I do it? I can do it by drawing a line here as I did here. Do you see that? Once I do that, then I find that my 2 over 3 becomes 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 6, right? We get here 4 out of 6. Plus this remains as 1 over 6. Do you see that? But important thing is that we have the same denominator. Do you see that 6 and 6? So they are 1/6 of each. 1/6, right? So these were 1/8. 1/8, right? So how many we got? We 4/8. 1/6, right? So we have to divide in 6th. Do you understand? That is how we get the common denominator. If you see otherwise, we have to get 6 here. 6 becomes the lowest common multiple, right? 3 multiples are 3, 6, 9. Okay, 6 is common, right? How can you make this 6? To make this 6, what should we do? We should multiply by same number in numerator and in denominator. So we will do times 2 times 2, right? 2 times 2 is 4 and 2 times 3 is 6. And then we get our equivalent fraction. So this is equivalent to this. And in the diagram here, I have shown you how to make it. So we got all 6. Now it's easy. We can combine them. How many 6 have I shaded? 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 5. So I get 5 over 6. Do you see that? 5 over 6. So that's my answer, which you also get by adding 4 and 1. Never add denominator. Denominator says these are 6th, right? So this is equal to 5 over 6. That is how you add, okay? Let's do one more. This is slightly complicated. Complicated because how can I find the lowest common denominator? They don't have any common factors, right? So in such cases, we multiply this by 4 and this by 3, right? So if I do it, what do I get? So what I'm trying to do here, I'm trying to multiply both of them by 4 and both these by 3, okay? Why? With this number 3 and this here. Do you see that? Once I do that, what do I get? 4 times 1 is 4 and 4 times 3 is 12 plus 3 times 3 is 9 and 3 times 4 is 12. Do you see that? So we get equal parts, right? So equal parts of 12th, right? Now we can add numerators, and if I add numerators, what I get? I get 13 out of 12, right? 13 out of 12. Oh, that's funny. Do you understand that? It's kind of a mixed number. Let's make a diagram and then try to understand. Okay? So here is that figure. So let's make a block. So this is the first block and then the second block. Okay. So the first block should be divided into 3 equal parts. So let's divide that into 3 equal parts. So here we have 3 equal parts. 1, 2 and 3. And out of them, how many is shaded? 1 is shaded. So let's shade them. Let's say this one is shaded. 1. Okay. So this is 1 out of 3. Okay. For the next one, we have to divide it into 4 equal parts. So let's divide it like this. Horizontally and vertically. Like this. So we got 4 equal parts. Out of which how many are shaded? Let's shade 3. 3 out of 4, correct? So we got 3. Now can you add them? No, you can't, because they are not equal size of pieces. This is much bigger than this. These are 1/3 and these are 1/4. So you have to make them with common denominator. The common denominator for us is 12. So how will you do 12 for them? Okay, let's try to do 12. It's not easy, but let's try. So 12 means 3 times 4, okay? So I have to divide them into halves, then you get 6 and then another half. Let's divide like this first. Half. So I got now 6, right? So from 3 I got 6. Now half of that. So each I will divide into half more, right? So I have 12. Do you see that? So out of these 12, how many are shaded? So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 out of 12 is shaded. Do you see that equivalent fraction? That is how it is, right? Now let's do the same thing here. Now this is 3 out of 4. We have to divide them into 4 equal parts, right? So what we can do? We can divide 3 on this side, 3 on this side. So we get 12, right? So let's say 1, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 6 on this side. 1 and 2. So we got 12, right? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now how many are shaded here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 out of 12. If you want to add them, then you have to count them all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So you get 13 out of 12. Do you see that? Now, what does 13 out of 12 means? If you see here, then you will notice, let me make a separate one because it becomes so messy. Okay, so first let me have all the 12s here. So how we did it? We first divided into 3 equal parts, right? And then like this, and then each was divided into halves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Each was divided into half. They don't really seem to be equal, but imagine. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And now let me shade 13 of them. So of course if I shade, we have only 12 here. Oh my God, how will I get the 13th one? So we get 12 here, right? This is 12 over 12. We need one more box to make 13th, right? So that means one more, like this, right? And we have to divide that into 12s. And out of this, I need to shade 1 13th. Do you see? 1 whole and 1/12. So that is what I get. I get this as 1 whole and 1 out of 12. So that is the meaning of 13 over 12. Do you get it? 13 over 12 means 12 over 12 plus 1 over 12. Do you understand? What is 13 over 12? 13 over 12 means 12 over 12 plus 1 over 12. Okay? So I could write this as equal to 12 over 12 plus 1 over 12. So 12 over 12 is 1 whole. Do you see that 1 whole? And then 1 out of 12. That is what it means. Okay? This is called improper fraction. 13 over 12 is called improper fraction because numerator is higher than denominator, and this is called mixed fraction. It has the number and the fraction. So sometimes when you add, you get a much bigger fraction or improper fraction. Do you see? These are proper fractions, right? Numerator is smaller than denominator. Do you understand? So you learn many things here. So what do you learn? Most important, you can add only if you have common denominators, right? Second, Make common denominators by multiplying numerator and denominator by the same number, right? As we did here, times 2, here times 4 and times 3, correct? Once you have same denominator, then retain the denominator, write denominator as such. Don't add or do anything with the denominator, keep it as such. Just add the numerators. From here 4 plus 1 is 5. Do you understand? 4 plus 9 is 13 and denominator remains as such, right? And that is your answer. If your answer is in improper fraction, it's a good idea to write it as a mixed fraction, just as I have given here. Okay, I hope you understand the whole process of adding fractions. Go through this exercise and then do some questions from your book. Thank you.